One of the dear friends of Israel, again, is Senator Ellen Clement. And I understand that you're willing to share a few words with us. So I just want to invite you. Let's welcome Senator Clement to South Carolina.
They say never offer an invitation to speak to a politician unless you're sincere. Of course, I'm delighted to be here with you today and to share just a few words. What is this goy doing here? I am here as an emissary of the people of a small state of the United States, South Carolina. South Carolina is a wonderful place. It's a place that has enjoyed religious freedom for centuries. In fact, it was the very first state, actually before it was a state, before the nation of the United States, when John Locke, the famous figure in American history and in world history, when he drafted the very first provincial constitution of South Carolina. And he guaranteed in his prose in that constitution, which was passed by the Provincial Congress of South Carolina, was the guarantee of religious freedom. It didn't stop there. It went on to say religious freedom to the Jews. That was before the founding of the United States. We have gone on in South Carolina to enjoy a wonderful and rich, vibrant history that includes Jewish participation in our society in South Carolina. There's a hero, not just a Jewish hero, but a South Carolina hero and even an American hero. The first officer, or at least one of the first officers, to lose their life in support of their country in the American Revolution. His name was Francis Salvador. Francis Salvador was Jewish. He immigrated from England to the colonies and ended up in Charleston, South Carolina. Francis Salvador was a patriot. He was a colonel in the American Revolution, and he's known as South Carolina's Paul Revere. The British were working with the Cherokee Indians, and the Cherokees were prepared to commence a raid of several settlements. And word came to Francis Salvador, and Francis Salvador jumped on his horse along with his lieutenant and raced towards those villages to let them know of the coming attack so they could be prepared. Well, as he was going from one village to the next, the Cherokee ambushed the group. And the Cherokee didn't kill Francis Salvador outright. While he was still alive, they took his scalp. After the Cherokee had left, the lieutenant, who had managed to ride away from the danger, galloped up on his steed towards Francis Salvador. Francis Salvador was still breathing. He was still alive. And the lieutenant bent down to him and grabbed his hand, and Francis Salvador opened his eyes. And his last words from his lips were, "Have we persevered? Have we persevered?" Ladies and gentlemen, that's what this caucus is all about. I'm involved in a similar group to this caucus. I'm working with legislators, 7,000 legislators across the country, to replicate what we've done in South Carolina. That is to offer a resolution in the General Assembly, preferably in the House of Representatives, in the People's House, to give an opportunity of discourse to talk about Israel, to talk about our support of Israel, about how Israel is America's best friend, and how we need to stand by America's best friend. To talk about how important it is for us to link arms with our friends in Israel and support the right of a homeland for the Jews. And beyond that, a right of Israel to settle, protect, and defend not the land that man gave them, but the land that God gave them. I hope that we'll be successful in that effort to expand the dialogue of America's support for Israel. Because I can tell you, the south of the United States is called the Bible Belt. We are a God-fearing people, for the most part, in the south of the United States. And South Carolina is sometimes referred to as the buckle of the Bible Belt, because we kind of hold it all together. We're very opinionated in our religious opinions and beliefs, and proud of it. When I proposed the resolution in South Carolina, right after President Obama's speech declaring that Israel should abandon East Jerusalem and should abandon Shomron and Judea, I proposed the resolution expecting to get a lot of debate from those that would defend what our president had said. But instead of debate, I had members from my party, the Republican Party, asking, can I sign on as a co-sponsor to your resolution? I don't just want to vote for it, I want my name on it. But guess what? Not just those Republicans. The Democrats came over and said the same thing. The second sponsor on this resolution is a young black Democrat, Bakari Sellers. He came up to me and said, I support Israel. I support the homeland of the Jews. I want to be a part of that resolution. We have 124 members of the House of Representatives from all parts of South Carolina. Not one person voted against that resolution. The message there is that the hearts of Americans, the hearts of God-fearing Americans, are with you in Israel. Let us continue on this dialogue, and let us ask, as we go through this process, are we persevering? And in the end, have we persevered? I would hope so. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Senator Clemmons. What an honor to have you with us today. And I want to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Michal Cafrey. I call her Miss, even though she's a dear friend of mine. She's a board member of the Israel Women's Network and a newly appointed advisor on evangelical relations to the Minister of Public Relations and Diaspora Affairs. Michal is an experienced activist in the field of international pro-Israeli public relations. Let's welcome Michal as she comes and gives us a few words.
Hello, everybody. Shalom and good morning. We are honored by the presence of all our guests, good friends here today. And many, many special thanks to our host, Knesset member Danny Danon. Thank you, Danny. At the protest against Durban 3 outside the UN that we organized last month, with the help and support of our evangelical sisters and brothers, Danny, our main speaker from Israel, did an outstanding job of representing us over there. And thank you, Danny, again. For me, it was a lovely experience. There in New York, as today in Jerusalem, we gathered to fight anti-Semitism. Bernard-Henri Lévy, the prominent French Jewish philosopher, says that anti-Zionism is the new anti-Semitism, with the addition of Holocaust denial. And indeed, the infamous 2001 Durban Conference branded Zionism as racism and legitimized turning Israel into an international punching bag. Even those who are too politically correct to support outright anti-Semitism can advocate anti-Zionism with a peaceful conscience. They can boycott Israeli exports and organize flotillas for what they called humanitarian reasons. While they protest loudly that they are anti-Israel Henri Levy maintains that they pursue us with a hatred which has goals but no cause. With the crushing of the Third Reich and the establishment of the State of Israel, we were naive enough to imagine that anti-Semitism would pass out of the world. Who in the right mind would have dreamed that only a few decades later there would be a few, and gradually many more, who would dare to deny Holocaust? That the General Assembly of the United Nations, established in 1945 to prevent future Holocaust, now serves as a platform from which Iranian President Ahmadinejad annually spews his lies. True, we were busy with nation building in Israel's early years, providing a homeland for the Jewish people. Perhaps we should have been more aware that the anti-Semitic snake had grown a new head. But we are awake now and committed to combating anti-Semitism and racism wherever they raise their heads, whether in the West or in the Muslim world. During this grueling struggle, you, all of you, are our light at the end of the tunnel. The active support and friendship of Christian Zionists for the State of Israel. You are with us today and every day, giving us hope for a future, here in God's country, free of hatred, full of peace. Thank you, and thank you again for coming over here.